everyone, welcome back to my craft room. If you're new here, my name is Enid. It's been about a month since I posted my last video, and if you'll recall, at that time I was just starting to get sick, so that's part of the reason. But then we had a couple of other things going on that kind of just killed my desire to craft or do much of anything else, actually. So I've just been kind of lazying about. But anyway, I'm ready to get back to it. And in today's video, I'll be working on my technique journal, and I'll catch you up on what's been going on. So sit tight and I'll be right back to get started. Okay, so I'm gonna try 3 techniques that I've never that I hadn't tried before. I experimented before the video just to make sure that things would work out, but besides that, I had never done them at all. I went ahead and created 2 signatures and sewed them in because I've already done that in previous videos, and I'll link one of them below so that you can see the process of sewing in signatures. But each signature has 6 pages, and here they are sewn in. So this is the second signature. And here's the first one. Let me just go through it real quick. I did that. So that's the end of the first signature, and this is the second. Okay, so I experimented with some stencil dyeing, but that didn't work out very well. So I watched a couple of videos and I figured out which technique works best for me, and I'm going to do a quick demo of that. And so those are my 2 signatures. And so I'm going to set this aside because I don't want it to get wet. But I'm going to try coffee dyeing some ribbon. I've dyed ribbon before with my Distress Oxide reinkers. Just made a diluted batch, you know, with water and some of the oxide reinker. But I've never done it with coffee, so let's give this a shot and see. Because I don't have any, like, I have a lot of the cotton ribbons, but I don't have anything that's, like, thin. So I wanted to try this out and see if it works out. Yeah, hold on. Am I interrupting? Sorry about that. My son was just asking me a question. He didn't realize I was videoing. So I'm just going to kind of just brush them like that. And then I'm going to set this aside, and I'm just really going to just wipe it up. I don't want them very dark, and I want them to dry during the course of this video. So yeah, so this is just a mixture of instant coffee. I had to replenish my coffee dyed paper, so my leftover, I just put it in a spray bottle, and I've been keeping it in the refrigerator, and it's been lasting for a bit now. So yeah, so this is it. It's not too dark. I'm gonna get another paper towel. Okay. Actually, I like it better if I don't wring it out, but I already did the other two, so I'm just going to wring out this one. So anyway, like I said, a few things have been going on. I think it was mid-March. First of all, I live in northeastern Pennsylvania, and we've lived here for going on 3 years, and never have we ever experienced the amount of windstorms that we've been getting lately. And in mid-March, we had a really big windstorm, and a couple of trees came down, and unfortunately one of them came down on the house. And so we had some damage. Hold on, I'm going to turn on my ceiling fan so I could lay these out and hopefully they'll dry. Excuse me. So tree came down on the house, and we had some pretty bad damage to a section of our roof. Took down the front gutter, and it took down the one side of the railing of our deck. So you know how it is dealing with insurance companies and things like that. And so that's one thing that's been keeping us occupied, and we still haven't gotten the repairs done. We just got the check from the insurance company, and so the roofer was supposed to start, but it's been raining like ridiculously, and so that's been put on hold. At least they came a day or two after it initially happened, and they covered the roof with some tarp, so that's not an issue. But that's one of the things that's been going on. Anyway, so the second technique that I'm gonna do, that I've never done before, but I experimented with. I did a batch of coffee dyed paper because I was running out. So I did a whole batch, and I decided to play with stencils. And I didn't get very good results. Hold on. So this was an attempt at stenciling. You can't even see anything. This was an attempt at stenciling. You could vaguely see some imprint, but that didn't work out. So then I watched a few videos and played around with some stencils, and I actually got some decent results. So this is one of them. That's another. It's the same stencil, but for some reason they turned out different. I'm not sure why. One came out dark and one came out light, so don't know. But it worked out. This one didn't come out too good, but it was okay. And this one came out a little better. So I'm going to show you the technique that worked best for me really quick, okay? So I'm going to take, this is just standard, I think this is 24-pound paper. And I've never used this punch before. I just tested it on this tag. But this was a new purchase from Temu. No, not from Temu, from Hobby Lobby. That I showed in my last haul video. So I really love this tag. It's really nice, this punch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray these with coffee paper. Coffee. And I'm going to use my little foam brush to brush it on. I'm going to flip it and I'm going to do the other side. So the other thing that really bummed me out was we have 2 dogs. They're both approximately 9 years old. We've had Milo since he was like maybe 3 months old. He's a pit bull mix of some sort, we think, with boxer. And like I said, he's 9 years old. So anyway, I sprayed it, and one side I did a little bit heavier than the other because I want to lay the stencil down on it. Actually, yeah. And then I'm just going to spray it some more. And kind of brush that. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. Oh, actually, what am I doing? Wrong thing. But anyway, I'm going to put the stencil on it. And then I'm going to spray it some more and brush it on. All right, so I'm going to set these aside and see what happens with them while we do the next phase of the video. So let me put these aside so the fan can blow on them. And these ribbons are already dry from the ceiling fan. Look at how they turned out. So it was a bright white ribbon, and now it's been coffee dyed. So it has like a little beige tint to it, which is what I wanted because I don't have any thin lace that's this color other than the embroidered thread. Anyway, so Milo is, he's had cancer for a bit. About 3 or 4 years ago, he had a tumor grow on the back of his leg. And we had it removed, and they did a biopsy on it, and it was cancer. There were cancer cells in it. So, but the doctor said, you know, they think they got it all. He should be fine. And then last year, he started to get a lump on the side of, like on his hip. And that thing, we took him to the vet. They, you know, said, you know, just keep an eye on it. It's small. There's no need to worry. But like within a couple of months, that thing grew huge. It was probably the size like of a grapefruit or something. And then he was also getting another tumor on his chest. And so we took him back. They did another surgery. They removed the tumor from his chest. And they removed the tumor from his hip. And he was good. And then lately, he's been limping really bad. And we took him back to the vet because we also noticed that he had a mass in his mouth, like on his gum. We didn't even know it was there, but by chance, my husband spotted it when he was giving him a treat. And so we took him to the vet, and they did they aspirated it, and they said there were cancer cells in it. And then the tumor that they had removed on his hip is starting to grow back, but it's very small. So we wanted to have both tumors removed, the mass from his mouth and then the one that's growing back on his hip. And he was scheduled for surgery on the 8th, and we dropped him off. And about an hour later, the vet called us back and said that they couldn't do therapy because he failed his pre-op testing. When they did an EKG on him, his heart rate was very irregular. So he had to go to a cardiologist, and they said he has cardiomyopathy, which means that his heart basically is beating irregularly. It's it beats fast, it skips a beat, beats slow. So they canceled his surgery. He couldn't have it, and now he's on blood medication, not blood, heart medication. And so, yeah, that's what's going on. We've got to take him back in like 2 weeks so they could repeat his EKG. And if his heart is okay, then we got to decide whether or not we want to put him through the surgery. But, I mean, he's still a happy boy. He's, eating, he's playing, he's there, he's still got great quality of life. And so we want to keep him going as long as we can. We love him so much. The thought of it is just so heartbreaking and depressing. But anyway, in a couple of weeks, we'll find out whether or not we can have him have the surgery, because we don't want the mass in his mouth especially to grow big enough to the point where he can't eat. Anyway, so that's, the house. Yeah, that's a big deal. But Milo, I don't know. That's just, it broke my heart. And anyway, let's get to crafting again. So those are 2 techniques that I've showed you so far that I've never done before. And the other thing that I want to do is a pocket that I saw on a video. And I'm going to give out a shout out to her channel. It's Betty's Custom Designs. And I'll put the hashtag on my video. I picked 2 pieces of paper from this Paper Studio Vintage Floral. And I picked coordinating colors because she did it with 2-sided paper. I don't have any 2-sided 6x6, and this is a 6x6 project. She just folded, but I like to use my bone folder. So I'm just going to score it at 3. And I'm going to make 2 of them at the same time because I want to show you 2 different versions. And there's a 3rd version, but I'll probably show that to you on the next video because I don't want this to run very long. So now that I've scored it, I'm going to fold these in half. And I'm going to give this a burnish with my bone folder. And let me fold this one in half. Okay, so then I'm gonna go at 2 inches. But I'm only gonna score it to the center score. Like, I'm not gonna score it all the way across. So I'm just gonna stop right here at that center. All right, so I'm going to score it there at 2 inches. And then I'm going to do the same here at 2 inches. And I'm only going to score till that 3-inch mark. Okay. And then the next thing I'm going to do, because my sight is so bad, I'm just going to go ahead and ink right over here so I can see what I'm cutting. But I'm going to do it on the inside. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut up the score line. Okay, so I'm going to cut there. And then I'm going to do the same on this one. And like I said, there's a 3rd version of this that I gotta get my punch. So I'm using my 1.5 inch punch, and I'll show you the third version. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead, and I'm actually gonna try to do all these 4. You know what? I don't think it'll punch through 4 layers of paper. So let me just do the bottom 2, where the 2-inch section where the score is. So I'm just going to go ahead and punch those out together. I'm going to try to center it as much as possible. And I'm going to punch it there. And then I'm going to, I'm going to go to the top. And I'm going to do another thumb notch. I'm getting confused. Anyway, I'm going to do the same to this one, and I'm going to thumb notch it on the bottom. And this one, instead of notching it at the top, where is it? I'm going to notch it at the side. So one is going to have a top pocket and one is going to have a side pocket. Now, the reason that I use 2 coordinating papers is because I don't have the double-sided paper. So if I flip this section up where I scored for the 2 inches, if I flip it up, I'm going to have a white part. You see that? So this is just something I came up with on my own. And then the next step to this pocket is to take this section that is not scored and flip it up to wherever you want it to make another pocket. Right? So there we go. So I flip it up here, and I can burnish that down now. And I'm going to have 2 pockets, and this one I didn't punch on both sides, so let me rectify that. Okay, so this is what that's going to look like. And then this one I'm going to fold up. And actually, I wanted it to go this way. So this one I should have scored. Oh, I'm going to have to do it this way, and it's going to go on that side of the page. And then I'm going to fold this up. Right? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and like rip these pockets off and interchange them. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this one down here. Sorry. I'm going to go ahead and glue this one down here. That's not too, I guess I shouldn't have used coordinating because you really can't see. This one, you'll notice it more. And then this one, I'll glue it down here. Okay. Anyway, so what I'll do so it'll stand out more is I'll go ahead and ink it. But anyway, I hope that wasn't too confusing. But I didn't want the white section, so I just cut off the pocket. And this is something that I actually just decided to do, because the test ones that I did, like I said, I wasn't too happy with the white pocket. I guess I don't need to ink the bottom of it. And then let me go ahead and ink these. I'll just ink the pockets, and then the rest I can ink off camera. I don't want to keep you here just watching me ink, because the sides I can do easily. Well, you know what? I'm doing it. Let me just go ahead and do it now. That's not too bad. So anyway, those are the things that are going on. Not to mention that I was sick for a couple of weeks. Yeah, that's it. Hopefully now the repairs are gonna start on the house. Milo seems to be doing really well. I mean, like I said, he's happy, he's eating still, you know. And yeah, we just got to keep a good eye on him. And hope for the best. I mean, you know, you have a dog. I've had dogs all of my adult life, because my mother never allowed us to have pets. So all of my adult life I've had dogs, and with each dog, you know, unfortunately they don't live forever, but they pass on. You wait a while, or you get another one right away. And with each dog you say, oh, this is the best dog I've ever had. And you know, that kind of happens with every dog. But Milo, I mean, I don't know. I never thought that I would have a pit bull. I was so like kind of against it. But when we went to the shelter, that's what my husband gravitated to, because our prior dog I had picked out, so it was his turn. And I was like, you know what, I really don't want a pit bull. I had that pit bull mentality. And he just has been the most, I don't know how to describe him. He's like a 3-year-old. He is so smart. He is so smart and so affectionate and so good with people. And it's kids. He's fantastic, you know. And we lucked out. We lucked out with him. And we've had him for 9 years. And we want to have him for another 9. But we know that's not going to be possible. You know, especially with his breed and the things that are going on with him now. So anyway, let me grab my glue. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and glue this on this outside section. And I'm just going to go ahead and close that. And then I'm going to glue this. But I'm only going to glue 2 sides. I'm not going to glue the bottom, because when I fold up the second pocket, that's going to be that'll, you know, be the bottom for this pocket. So I want to make sure I get that on there evenly. So like when I glue this up, that's going to be, you know, the bottom. So now I'm going to just glue these 2 sections. Make sure I get that there. Yeah, so now that it's inked, that definitely stands out a little bit more. And I probably need to ink this a little bit better up here, because you can see some of the white. So take care of that with some ink. So there's the first one. Again, it's a top pocket, and then you've got 2 pockets. And so here I'm going to go ahead again, and I'm going to glue down the sides. I really wanted it this way, but it's going to be this way. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and glue this pocket on. Again, I'm just going to do the two sides. And I'm going to glue that on here. And I'm going to line it up where I tore off the other pocket. And then I'm going to glue these two sides. And that's that. Let me put the top on my glue. Anyway, so those are 3 techniques, and let me just double check on my stenciled paper. Oh, that's still really wet, but I may have to show that to you, or let it dry. Stop the video, let it dry, and then come back, but I'll do that when the time is right. So what I'm gonna do is I made one of these previously. I'm not gonna fill these because I'll just show you what I did over here. This is the one that I made to kind of test it, and I added a little mini journal card. And I put a little charm on the side with an eyelet. And then I put some little pieces of ephemera, the Tim Holtz ephemera, a ticket. And on this little piece, I added a little butterfly, a little washi butterfly, and a little number that I stamped and cut. And so I put those there. Yeah, so this one that I made, I had no double-sided paper, so I stuck some 2 pieces of 6x6 together, but it came out really bulky because I glued them together back to back, and so it's really bulky. And then I put 2 pieces of ephemera. This one I didn't decorate. I still have to go back and do that. But, yeah. So, I'm going to go ahead and put this one because the colors go really well with all of this. So, I'm going to put that in the journal. And then I think I'm going to glue it on as a tuck. Like, so I'll only glue it on 2 places. And on this one, I made the mistake and I scored it all the way across on the 2-inch side where I wasn't supposed to. I was only supposed to score to the 3-inch section. So yeah, so let's see where we're going to go ahead and put this. I think I'm gonna do it in the front because it kind of coordinates with this. I cut a 12 by 12 piece of paper down to 8.5 by 12, and then I just folded like a 1/2 inch in on each side to make it 11 instead of 12, and so we have that decorative strip. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and glue this down here. I think I'm going to use the pocket that I just made instead of this one to keep the bulk down. So I'm going to go ahead and add these pieces of ephemera to this pocket. and I'll just keep this as my example, and I'll go ahead and stick these pieces in here. And I'll go ahead and get my, I'm sorry for the arm across, my small ephemera. And I'll pick some pieces to go on this. Do I want to give it some color, give it a different color? Kind of like that. Kind of blends in. Too big. I'll get this handle with care. And where's that round one? That's what I'll do. So this already looks like it's inked. So I'm just gonna go ahead and glue this down. And then I'm gonna put this handle with care. And this is torn in the back. Put that straight. Side, and then I'm gonna maybe get a butterfly for the top portion of here. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that to coordinate with the black. And I know you won't be able to see the whole butterfly, but that's okay. You'll know that he's there. I like that. Love it. Stick that down a bit. Oh, and on this little, I took one of the Tim Holtz pieces of ephemera and I cut it down, rounded the corners, and then it had like this banner. And so I stamped love in it. So, oops, come on, go in there. There you go. So now I'm gonna go ahead and put these butterflies away. I gotta refill something there, something I ran out of. Let me get this stuff out of here. have to glue this side. And this side to make it a tuck. And I'm gonna use the words to get it straight on the side here, the text on the page. Yay! So that's my first embellishment in this journal. Very cool. Oh, this popped open and my charm popped off. So let me get this back on here. And let me close this. There you go. Oh, I put it on backwards. Let me see if I can just fix that real quick. There you go. So that's that. Really cute. So now I want to put the pieces of ribbon that I dyed on each of the front and the back of each signature. So let me get my Fabri-Tac. And I'm just gonna, oh, let me cover my art glitter so it won't dry because I have the ceiling fan going. And I'm gonna put a bead of the Fabri-Tac. So I've done ribbon on the edge of my pages before, but I've never done coffee dyed ribbon. So this is a new technique for me. Okay, so that's ribbon on the front. And then I'm gonna just kind of let these dry a bit, and then I'll come back and trim them. Oh no, I pulled that off. I didn't mean to. Okay, so then here's the back. I'm gonna put my bead of Fabri-Tac. I gotta work fast because I have the ceiling fan on for the stencils to dry, but I think it's also affecting my glue. So here's another piece of the ribbon. Pull it up because I put it too high. Come on, don't stick there. Okay, that's better. So let me turn this way. I'm gonna snip off that piece. I'm gonna snip off this piece over here. I'm gonna go to the back and I'm gonna snip off and snip off this piece. Okay, so now let me do this piece. Okay, so I get quiet when I'm trying to concentrate, so I apologize for the awkward silence. Let me go ahead and snip off this piece. And then let me put the last piece of lace on the back of this signature. I haven't decided whether or not I should do pockets on the front and back. Guess I'll decide when I do the closure. Okay, so that's 2 new techniques in this journal. Really more than 2, because I did a couple of things with the signatures that I haven't done before. So, and I'll show you an example of that. Because usually when I've done like a flip, I've glued on another piece of paper, or I've washi taped 2 pieces of paper together to make that extra piece for the flip. And so what I did this time was I took 8.5 by 14 paper, or like letter size, and I scored it at 5.5, and then I scored it at 11, and then so now I have this extra piece that's my little flip. So, and it's only on one side, the other half of it doesn't have the flip, but yeah. So I coffee dyed a legal size sheet of paper to get that. So that's so this is number 1, new pocket for me. This is number 2, coffee dyed ribbon is number 2. I Mod Podged and I matte, the Ranger matte finish on the cover, which I had never done before. So that's 3. I made a topper, that's 4, like a nice lacy topper. So that's 4 new techniques. What is this? No, this is just piece of paper that I bought from Temu, and I folded it in half to make the pocket. And then I connected, I put an envelope, but I glued the flap of the envelope on the inside of this before I sealed it. And then I took an envelope and I collaged on the envelope, so I have a pocket here. And I tea dyed the back of the envelope, not tea dyed, coffee dyed. So let me see. So yeah, here go my ribbons. And let me see how my stencils are doing. If I can pull them over and show them to you now, I will. If not, I'll pause the video and I'll come right back when they're dry. Okay, so my stencils are, my tags are not 100% dry, but I think they're dry enough for me to pull the stencil off. And so you can see how they turned out. So fingers crossed. Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this off. Nice. Love that. Ooh, love it, love it, love it. So like I said, the paper is not 100% dry. It's still very wet. I might just get my heat gun and dry them off, or just let them sit here and dry off, but they turned out beautifully. And you know, I did a small tag because I didn't want like a big, you know, mess on my desk. I would have only been able to do one piece of 8.5 by 11 paper, but the same exact way that I did the tag, you would do, you know, a sheet of paper. Spray it on one side and coffee dye it. Did it turn out on the back too? You see a slight hint of it on the back. Yeah, so it's still wet. But dry enough, like I said, to take off the stencil. So you see you have a slight image of it on the back as well. So I was going to put eyelets and ribbon on it, but they're still wet. So next video, you'll see the finished tag. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I know I was gone for a while, but I appreciate those of you who stuck with me. And during the time that I was gone, I picked up a handful of new subscribers. So thank you to you new subscribers as well. Please like, share, hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of my future videos. And thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.